Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. A few eagle-eyed viewers already spotted it. I've exchanged my Yamaha QY100 for QY70. As you can see, this device is a bit smaller and it has no audio input. Other than that, these two mini synthesizer workstations are nearly the same. Let's take a look. Like the QY100 I showed you some weeks ago, the QY70 is a portable extended general MIDI module. It can be powered by a wall plug or 6AA batteries, which will, in my experience, power the device for a day or two. On the front of the device, you'll find a lot of buttons and a big LC display that has no backlight unfortunately, and on the back there is a power socket, a 3.5mm audio out jack, 5-pin MIDI in and out, a wheel for adjusting screen contrast and the PC host interface. On the left side, you'll find the on-off switch and the volume slider, and on the right side there's a switch for selecting the MIDI interface. This box gives you 32 voices of polyphony and roughly 500 patches and 20 drum kits to choose from. Patches can be edited by adjusting filter cutoff frequency, resonance and amp envelope. Each project can also use 3 insert effects, reverb, chorus and the third one you can choose from a wide variety, and each track can be panned and routed through these effects individually. Sound quality is typical 90s fare, but with some imagination you can easily elevate those sounds by using the filters and effects and sequencer automations. The QY70 also has no smart media card slot, so you'll need the software to download the songs you created. I'll link this in this video's description. Typically for Yamaha's late 90s hardware, the sequencer has songs and patterns. Patterns are up to 8 measures long and can have up to 8 MIDI tracks, while a song can use up to 16 MIDI tracks and can be as long as you want. The song sequencer has a pattern track, which can trigger any of the 6 patterns in any order at any time, and you can use the remaining 8 tracks to record freestyle MIDI data. Looking at the user interface, here are the switches for song and pattern mode. Here's the playback control, cue, record, stop and playback. Here's an octave switch and of course a keyboard to play notes on, which doubles for pattern and musical key selection. There are 6 patterns you can place on the pattern track, which will play along to the rest of your recording. You can record in step or overdub mode, and your recordings won't be quantized unless you choose to. On the right side, there are buttons for moving around the cursor, decrementing and incrementing, and the menu button. The menu is context sensitive, so depending on which screen you're on, you'll get different submenus. The 4 menu buttons here will then take you to the other menus. The screen itself is divided into 2 halves. On the upper side, you'll find track information like tempo, length, the key you're playing in and so on, and on the lower half, you'll find your MIDI tracks. In pattern mode, you'll find 8 MIDI tracks, and in song mode, there'll be 16. I'll show you all this by recording a pattern from start to end. Let's begin with recording a bass line in the step sequencer mode. Once again, I've set up my Korg NanoKontrol here via a USB MIDI hub to control filter cutoff frequency, resonance and other things. Let's set up this pattern. This will be the intro and I want it to be 8 measures long. Pressing shift and entering a number will quickly write that value into the cursor's position. Moving the cursor left, I set the tempo to 90 beats per minute using the same method. I also want to use the chord track feature, which will later allow me to reharmonize this pattern in real time while playing, which is one of the killer features of this sequencer. My pattern will be in A minor, so let's set that here accordingly using the chord keys on the keyboard. Later, you can play chords on the keyboard during playback, which will then quickly change all the notes you enter to match the new key. My bass line will play on track 2, so let's move the cursor there. Pressing the pattern key will take us to the mixer screen. On the 3rd row, we can now browse sounds using the plus and minus keys. While I could record freestyle, I'm going to use the step sequencer here. Press record and then move the cursor to the right checkbox and press enter. Check if all the settings are okay and then press play. On this screen, we can now fill a track with notes. On the top half of the screen, I can, among other things, change note length and velocity. Notes can be entered on the keyboard. On the right of the screen, there are labels showing you what the function keys will do, so the third button will insert a rest into the track. Let's record a bass line now. Now I'm going to add another rest, so the cursor sits between the notes I entered already, and as this sound's filter cutoff frequency is tied to velocity, I'm going to reduce velocity slightly and then start recording a second bass line on the same track. Okay, let's listen to the result. Remember I set up the NanoKontrol to change filter cutoff frequency and resonance? Let's try that now. That's better, but let's also check out the effects section. Pressing the pattern button 2 times takes us to the effects setup screen, and pressing the menu button will let you choose and edit the third insert effect. I selected the tube amp simulator here with a low pass filter set to 1 kHz. Now go back to the main mixer, press the menu button and select Effects Send, and here you can adjust the amount of reverb, chorus and user effect. So I'll play back the sequence now and I'll slowly increase the amount of tube amp distortion. And once again with filter tweaking. Okay, I'll now add some more tracks like drums, chords and effects, and I'll be back with a short demo later. Oh, by the way, if you like content like this, and if you find this interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel. Seeing those subscriber numbers grow makes me happy and keeps me motivated to post new videos. So if you'd like to see more content on the QY70 or other devices, hit that subscribe button now. Thank you. Okay, so far for this week. Next week I'll take a look at the job menu, arrange those patterns into a song, connect other hardware synthesizers, and record this. Stay put. Yeah, and that's it for today. I hope you found this interesting and useful, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and see you again very soon. Bye bye!